Welcome to the weekly Royal Recap, where we do just that, recap the week in royal news. My name is Madeline, and each week I will be taking you through royal news with a bit of commentary and context. I've been making content about the royals for the last 5 years across multiple platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Substack, Medium. And my ultimate goal is to create a relationship with viewers where we can talk about royal-related things and news without breaking into an argument, as the topic of royals is quite polarizing for many different reasons. But arguing is not a means of productive conversation. Besides creating this weekly series, I also share commentary on Substack and make video essay style content on YouTube. You can get in contact with me at royallymadbusiness@gmail.com, and I'm sure you'll learn more about me as these episodes progress. Starting off strong with the state opening of Parliament, which marks the beginning of the parliamentary year in the United Kingdom. The King and Queen were escorted by the household cavalry to the Palace of Westminster, and in tradition, an MP was taken hostage in order to ensure the monarch's safe return. Now, if you are scratching your head at that, it's okay. This tradition started way back with Charles I due to his not so great relationship with Parliament. The kidnapped MP is treated very well to tea and biscuits and can watch the state opening right from the comfort of Buckingham Palace. Moving on, the King celebrated 50 years of the King's Trust with some major stars in attendance. The King's Trust, once known as the Prince's Trust, was founded in 1976 to support vulnerable young people. Charles established the trust using his severance pay from the Royal Navy, and since its beginnings, the organization has actually expanded to over 20 countries worldwide. Celebrations took place at Royal Albert Hall with performances by Rod Stewart, Rita Ora, and more. Stars in attendance included Idris Elba, George Clooney, as well as Benedict Cumberbatch. It has been reported that Windsor Castle is facing some security concerns after an armed cop was caught sleeping on the job. 30 from the Met's Royalty and Specialist Protection Squad are now under investigation. And this is a real problem because these people are supposed to be the best of the best, right? So I would assume if your duty is to protect a royal castle, especially one that hosts so many big events, that you would be performing your job at the best of your abilities. The outcome of this investigation is to conclude sometime next week, which will determine if any security will be let go or not. Now, shifting gears to a short trip, but a big moment for Kate, her 2-day trip to Reggio Emilia in northern Italy. The trip was centered around early childhood because the city is known for its child-centered education and quality of life. I talked about this last week, that this was seen as a fact-finding trip for her early years work. She has really championed that over the last 6 years. And during this visit, Kate met with a kindergarten class where she learned more about the Reggio approach to education. She even shared that she wished she had a room for her children, sort of like a workshop where they would be very hands-on with different materials like clay and stones. She spent time with educators, learned pasta making, visited a recycling center that repurposed materials into education items. I thought that was pretty cool, so I wanted to look more into that and see if it was a thing here in the States, and apparently we do have a few organizations doing that. Also, I thought this was sweet. When introducing herself to the children, she referred to herself in Italian as Caterina. Now, you may not know that she actually studied Italian and art history in Florence before she went to university. Now, this trip, in my opinion, was sort of framed like a comeback. Obviously, Kate has been working, but this was her first trip since before her cancer diagnosis, and it's really her passion project, something that has given her this new title of the Children's Princess. This really was her return to international work, and I think was her first without William since 2016 when she visited the Netherlands. Speaking of William, Kate may join him for this year's Earthshot Prize Awards. The last time she joined him for Earthshot was Boston way back in 2022. Earthshot is in India this year, and with Kate maybe attending, I'm curious if we will see them undertake a royal tour in this last half of the year, as I know that has been greatly speculated. Prince William this week met Nawe Hono Itepo. This marks the first time a Maori monarch has been hosted at Windsor Castle. Representatives say that the two discuss global topics and environmental challenges, as well as indigenous knowledge in solving such challenges. Later in the week, she met with Charles for the celebration of the King's Trust and met young Maori entrepreneurs who benefited from the New Zealand branch of the trust. She also attended the garden party at Buckingham Palace and was said to have shared heartfelt words with the king. Her visit is significant as it shows the relationship between the crown and indigenous communities and how that relationship continues into this modern era, especially with such a young leader as Nawe Hono Itepo being just 29. This week, William opened James Place, a suicide prevention center for men, to mark Mental Health Awareness Week. This is actually the fourth James Place that William has opened, this one being in Birmingham. He toured the center and met staff as well as those who have used its services. The topic of mental health, especially that of suicide, is something that William has really made a point to spotlight in his work over the years, and this goes way back even to his air ambulance days, when one of the first calls he responded to was of a man that died by suicide. He also helped to launch the National Suicide Prevention Network and really advocated for greater work to be done in this area, as there is still a great deal of stigma around seeking help. The Royal Windsor Horse Show was this week, with royals in attendance as they usually are. They've attended since its beginnings in 1943. Princess Anne was there, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Zara Tindall was there, and even Lady Louise competed in the carriage driving portion of the show, taking after her grandfather, Prince Philip, who really did pioneer that sport on a grander scale. And that is going to take us to the end of the episode. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great week. Join me next week where we will recap royal news once again.